The world was silent before dawn. A cold wind drifted across the Valley of Clocks, a strange ancient place where thousands of clocks hung from giant stone pillars, each one ticking in a different rhythm. Some ticked fast, some slow, some barely moved, but each one belonged to a human life somewhere in the world. In that valley, time was alive. The sun had not yet risen, but there was a faint glow on the horizon, a glow that looked like hope, or perhaps a warning. The ticking grew louder as the morning approached. It echoed like a heartbeat, the heartbeat of life itself. And in the middle of this valley stood a young man, unaware of the power of the world around him. His name was Aarav. Aarav was like so many people in the world, full of dreams, full of talent, full of potential, but trapped in the invisible chains of procrastination. He wasn't lazy, no. His problem was something far more dangerous. He believed he had time. Time to change, time to improve, time to chase dreams. Someday. Not today, not tomorrow, maybe eventually. He lived with the comforting illusion that life would always wait for him. But life never waits. Time never stops, and destiny does not bend for those who take it for granted. As the light of morning spilled across the valley, all the clocks glimmered with a faint blue glow, like stars awakening. Each glow represented a future, a dream, a life unfolding somewhere on Earth. But among all the thousand lights, one flickered weakly, Aarav's. It was dim, hesitant, wavering, neither alive nor dead, just drifting, just like the boy himself. And yet, in that valley, something strange was happening. Every time Aarav breathed out, the clocks around him shook faintly, as if reacting to him. Time was listening, time was watching, time was waiting for him to make a choice. A gentle breeze pushed past him, carrying the distant whisper of a wise old voice. "Value time, or watch your life vanish in its shadows." Aarav looked around, confused. He didn't know whose voice it was, but the valley knew. For centuries, the Valley of Clocks had watched countless lives waste away. It had watched dreams die because people believed they had more time. It had watched genius fade, passion burn out, and opportunities dissolve into nothing. The valley had seen too many tragedies. But today, it was watching something else. The beginning of a transformation. A journey that would change the course of Aarav's life forever. The sun finally rose, sending golden rays across the clocks. The valley brightened, the ticking softened, and the path ahead appeared clearly, as if time itself was offering Aarav a choice. That morning, the story began. A story about discipline, a story about consequences, a story about redemption, a story about the value of time.
Aarav's village lay just beyond the mountains, far from the mystical valley he did not yet understand. It was a peaceful place, simple homes, fields stretching to the horizon, and mornings filled with the sound of life waking up. But inside his room, Aarav slept. He always slept a little longer than he planned. 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, just a little more rest. His alarm rang for the 3rd time, but he simply turned over and pulled the blanket over his head. There was always time later. There was always tomorrow. This was his curse. He had dreams, big dreams. He wanted to build something, create something, achieve something. He wanted success, respect, and a life filled with accomplishment. But dreaming is easy. Doing is hard, and Aarav always chose the easier road. He woke finally, late as usual, rushing through the morning with his mind filled with excuses. I'll start my routine tomorrow. I'll study harder tomorrow. I'll make up for today tomorrow. Tomorrow was his comfort, his shield, his favorite lie. He arrived late to everything. Late to class, late to tasks, late to opportunities. He didn't notice the looks people gave him anymore. He didn't see the disappointment in his teacher's eyes, the frustration in his parents' silent glances, or the way his own friends began drifting away. They all knew the truth. Aarav didn't. But there was one person who watched him closely, quietly, patiently. The old watchmaker. His name was Master Vidin, a man with silver hair, sharp eyes, and hands steady enough to repair the tiniest gears of the smallest watch. He had lived longer than anyone in the village, and some said he understood time better than the clocks he built. Every afternoon, Aarav walked past his little workshop, a dimly lit room filled with clocks of all shapes and sizes. The walls ticked with life, the shelves glowed softly, and the air smelled of old wood and oil. Aarav never entered. He was always in a hurry, even though he was always late. But Vidin watched him every day, the rushing, the excuses, the wasted potential. He saw more than a boy who procrastinated. He saw a life drifting without direction, like a leaf trapped in weak winds. One evening, Aarav sat alone at a quiet spot near the river. The world was peaceful, but his mind was loud. He thought about the things he wanted to do, but didn't. The things he planned, but never began. His dreams, all untouched. How does time pass so quickly? He sighed. He didn't expect anyone to hear him, but behind him, slow footsteps approached. The old watchmaker sat down beside him without a word. For a while, they both watched the flowing river. Finally, the old man spoke, his voice gentle but filled with ancient heaviness. You waste your days like they are infinite, and yet you wonder why your life never moves. Aarav looked at him, startled. I just need more time, he replied. The old man shook his head. No, he whispered. You need more discipline. Aarav felt a strange sting in his chest, not anger, but truth. Vidin continued. Every morning you repeat yesterday's mistakes. Every night you promise yourself a better tomorrow. And every day you let your life slip through your fingers. The river rushed past them. Time rushed with it. Aarav didn't know how to respond. He stared at the water, feeling for the first time that he was losing something he couldn't touch. Why are you telling me this? He asked softly. The watchmaker turned to him, his old eyes filled with something mysterious. Because, Vidin said, when you waste time, time begins to waste you. Aarav felt a strange sting in his body. He didn't know it then, but this conversation, this moment, this single evening by the river would become the turning point of his life. The world around them faded into twilight, and the ticking of unseen clocks echoed faintly through the air. Aarav didn't notice it yet, but time had already started watching him, testing him, judging him. Because he was the boy who always said tomorrow, but tomorrow was tired of waiting. The next morning was like every other morning in Aarav's life, rushed, unfocused, and soaked in excuses. But something felt different within him. The old watchmaker's words echoed in his mind like the ticking of a quiet but relentless clock. When you waste time, time begins to waste you. He tried to brush it off, but the sentence clung to him like a shadow. Late afternoon arrived, and the village was basked in a soft golden glow as the sun sank behind the hills. Aarav found himself walking toward the market road, lost in thoughts of his future, his failures, and the feeling that something invisible was slipping away from him. He passed by Master Vidin's workshop, the small wooden building humming with the heartbeat of time. Hundreds of clocks ticking, chiming, whispering stories of moments lost and moments yet to come. For the first time in years, Aarav stopped. He stared at the dusty window. The clocks inside seemed to glow softly, as if calling to him. Before he could think twice, his feet moved on their own. He pushed the door open. A bell chimed above him, a delicate silver tone that hung in the air like a frozen second. The shop was dim, filled with warm lamplight. Clocks of every shape and age surrounded him. Wooden clocks, brass clocks, glass clocks, massive grandfather clocks, tiny pocket watches, each ticking in its own rhythm. And in the middle of it all sat Master Vidin at his workbench, adjusting the gears of a small timepiece with steady, precise hands. Without looking up, the old man said, "I knew you would come." Aarav blinked. "How?" "Time told me," Vidin replied simply. He finally looked up, and in his eyes, Aarav saw something ancient, something that understood life far more deeply than anyone he had ever known. "Sit," Vidin said, pointing to a small wooden stool. Aarav obeyed without a word. For a long moment, the only sound was the ticking of hundreds of clocks. It was hypnotic, like the beating of the world's heart. Then Vidin reached into a drawer beneath his bench and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it and revealed a pocket watch, silver, old, beautifully engraved, glowing faintly as if holding a warm soul inside it. "This," Vidin said, "belongs to you." Aarav hesitated. "To me? Why?" "Because you are losing your time faster than anyone I've ever seen." Aarav felt a cold weight settle in his chest. "I don't understand." The old watchmaker stood and placed the pocket watch in Aarav's palm. It was warm, strangely warm, almost alive. Time is not just what the world tells you it is. It is not hours, minutes, or seconds. Time is your decision. Time is your discipline. Time is your respect for your own life. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "And this watch will show you how you treat your time." Aarav frowned. "Show me? What do you mean?" Vidin pointed to the watch face. The second hand was moving, but not steadily. Sometimes it sped up, sometimes it slowed down, sometimes it jittered like a nervous heartbeat. "This watch reacts to your choices," Vidin said. "Waste your hours, and it will run faster. Use them well, and it will slow down." Aarav stared at the watch, confused, fascinated, frightened. "But how is that possible?" he asked. The old man smiled gently, with the kind of sadness only someone who has watched too many young souls throw away their futures could hold. "Because time," Vidin said, "isn't measured by clocks. It's measured by actions." Aarav felt his throat tighten. The watch glowed a soft blue in his hand, a glow that seemed to pulse with the rhythm of his own thoughts. "Why are you giving this to me?" he asked quietly. "Because," Vidin said, placing a hand on his shoulder, "you still believe you have endless tomorrows. This watch will show you the truth." Aarav swallowed hard. The shop suddenly felt colder, bigger, filled with unseen forces. "What truth?" he whispered. The watchmaker leaned close and said, "The truth that the world won't wait for you." The clocks chimed softly, almost mournfully. Aarav left the shop with the watch in his hand and a strange heaviness in his heart. But he did not know that the real test was about to begin.
The next morning, Aarav woke earlier than usual, not because of discipline, but because of discomfort. His night was restless, strange dreams filled his sleep, clocks melting, days dissolving, sunlight slipping between his fingers like sand. He sat up and looked at the pocket watch on his bedside table. It was glowing again, faint but undeniable. He picked it up and stared at the second hand. It was moving just a little faster than normal. Aarav frowned. "That old man just wants to scare me," he muttered. "It's probably broken." But something inside him didn't believe his own words. He walked out into the day trying to ignore the watch, pretending everything was normal. But nothing was normal. Not anymore. The morning passed strangely quickly. One moment he was brushing his teeth. The next, he was already running late for his usual tasks. It felt as if the hours were shrinking. By afternoon, he looked at the sky and saw the sun dipped lower than expected. Time was slipping by like water escaping from his closed fist. He pulled the pocket watch out. The second hand now spun faster, not alarmingly fast, but enough that a sense of dread crept into his chest. "No, this can't be real," he whispered, but the world around him confirmed it. Every small task felt rushed. Every moment felt shorter. Every hour passed with an unnatural speed. His heart raced. He tried to study, but the daylight vanished too quickly. He tried to plan his day, but half of it was already gone. Even conversations felt shorter, like time was slicing pieces off the edges of everything. And then it happened. During one small moment of distraction, scrolling through meaningless things, staring at nothing, just wasting a few minutes, the pocket watch in his hand burned warm. The second hand suddenly spun wildly, fast, faster. Aarav dropped the watch, startled. It clattered onto the floor, glowing fiercely for a moment before settling down again. Aarav stared at it in horror. "What is happening to me?" he whispered. The day rushed by. Evening arrived too soon. Night fell too early. He sat on his bed, breathing heavily, the watch resting in his trembling hands. He remembered Vedan's words. "Waste your hours, and time will run faster. Use them well, and time will slow down. The world will not wait for you." Aarav finally saw the truth. Time was not punishing him, it was mirroring him. He had spent years wasting minutes, ignoring responsibilities, procrastinating dreams, and now his own life was accelerating in response. His eyes widened as a chilling realization washed over him. If I keep wasting time, my life will disappear before I even begin living it. The watch glowed faintly in agreement, ticking softly like a warning heartbeat. Aarav felt fear. Real fear for the first time in his life. Fear not of failure, not of judgment, not of hardship, but fear of losing time itself. He now understood something deep and terrifying. Time wasn't his enemy, time wasn't his friend. Time was a mirror reflecting who he chose to be. And at that moment, Aarav realized he couldn't run from time anymore. Time was catching up, and it was moving faster every day.
Days passed, or perhaps it was only hours. Aarav could no longer tell the difference. Time slipped through his life like a thief moving in daylight, unseen, unchallenged, unstoppable. Every morning felt shorter than the last. Every night came quicker. Every day collapsed into the next like pages turning too fast in a book he had never read. And the pocket watch glowed more intensely with each wasted moment. Aarav tried to ignore it at first. He tried convincing himself it was all in his mind. Stress, fear, imagination. But the world around him told a different story. He missed an important exam he had prepared months for, or at least told himself he would prepare for. The day arrived too soon. The morning vanished too quickly, and Aarav showed up only to hear the door close behind the last student entering. He stood there, breathless, staring at the closed door. "Not again," he whispered. His heart sank deeper than ever before. He had promised his parents he would take this exam seriously. He had promised himself he wouldn't waste time anymore. But promises mean nothing when actions remain unchanged. The watch in his pocket buzzed faintly, a warm pulse, almost like a heartbeat of disappointment. Aarav walked home with heavy steps, feeling smaller and smaller with every ticking second. The next day was no kinder. He had a job interview, a rare opportunity in his village, a chance to earn, to grow, to start being responsible. He set the alarm early, determined not to repeat his mistakes. But morning disappeared too quickly. Breakfast blurred into noon. Noon dissolved into late afternoon. Time didn't slow for him. Time didn't wait for him. Time didn't forgive him. By the time he reached the small office where the interview was held, the sun was already setting. The hiring manager stood locking the door. "I'm sorry," the manager said with a polite but firm tone. "We can't consider you. We need someone who respects time." Aarav opened his mouth to plead, to explain, to beg for another chance. But the words dried up in his throat. Because deep down, he knew the manager was right. He didn't respect time, and now time didn't respect him. The pocket watch in his hand glowed again, brighter, warmer, burning like regret. Aarav walked home slowly, like a man carrying invisible chains. Every step felt heavier, every breath filled with guilt. When he reached home, his mother looked at him, not angry, not frustrated, but tired. Her silence hurt more than any words. His father simply sighed, shaking his head gently. That night, Aarav sat alone in his room, surrounded by dreams he never acted on, books he bought but never opened, plans he wrote but never followed, goals he imagined but never pursued. The pocket watch ticked softly, projecting shadows across the walls. Aarav stared at it as tears welled in his eyes. Why am I like this? Why do I keep wasting everything? Why do I keep saying tomorrow? The watch glowed faintly, a silent reminder of every moment he had let slip. And then the memories hit him all at once. Friends he drifted away from because he never had time. Opportunities lost because he wasn't ready. Dreams that faded because he never took the first step. He felt it, truly felt it, for the first time. He wasn't losing time. He had already lost so much of it. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. He couldn't tell anymore. Time moved strangely now, too fast when he was careless, painfully slow when he regretted. Aarav curled into himself, trembling with the weight of his failures. For the first time in his life, he cried not because life was unfair,
but because he realized he had been unfair to his own life. And somewhere far away, or perhaps only in his mind, the valley of clocks echoed quietly, their ticking filled with sorrow. Aarav now understood the truth that so many people learn too late. Wasted time is the heaviest burden a human heart can carry.
The next morning, Aarav woke before sunrise, not refreshed, not determined, but broken. His eyes were heavy, his face tired, his heart numb. The pocket watch lay beside him on the bed, glowing softly like a silent witness to his suffering. Every time he blinked, it felt like another moment slipping from his life. He couldn't take it anymore. He needed answers. He needed help. He needed the only person who understood what was happening, Master Vedon. Without breakfast, without hesitation, without excuses, for the first time in years, Aarav rushed down the village path. His feet pounded the dirt road as morning light spilled across the sky. When he reached the watchmaker's shop, the door was already open, though it was still very early. Light flickered inside, warm, steady, waiting. Aarav stepped in. His chest tightened, his voice cracked. "Master, something is wrong with me." Vedon looked up from his workbench, his old eyes calm, wise, and unsurprised. "No," he said gently, "nothing is wrong with you. Something is finally waking up inside you." Aarav collapsed onto the wooden stool, burying his face in his hands. "I'm losing everything. My days are getting shorter. My time is disappearing. I'm failing at everything. And this watch," he held it up with shaking fingers, "it moves too fast when I make mistakes. Why is this happening to me?" The old man stood, walked toward him, and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Aarav," he said softly, "time has always been moving at the same speed, but your life, your discipline, your choices, they have not." He took the pocket watch gently and held it between his palms. "This watch does not control your time," Vedon continued. "It reflects it. It mirrors your decisions. When you are careless, it speeds up because your life becomes chaotic. When you focus, when you take responsibility, when you move with purpose, it slows down because your mind becomes clear." Aarav stared at him through tears. "So, it's my fault?" he whispered. "It is your power," Vedon corrected. "Time isn't punishing you, it is teaching you." He placed the watch back into Aarav's hands, closing his fingers around it. "You think the world is cruel because it gives you limited time," the watchmaker said. "But the truth is, the world is kind. It gives you enough time to do everything you were born to do, as long as you stop wasting it." Aarav swallowed hard, the weight of those words sinking deep into his soul. "I don't want to waste it anymore. I don't want to live like this." Vedon smiled. A rare, gentle, fatherly smile. "Then change how you live," he said. "1 minute at a time, one choice at a time, one disciplined step at a time." He walked back to his workbench, the ticking of hundreds of clocks echoing softly around them. "You have been chasing tomorrow your whole life," Vedon continued, "but tomorrow is only born when today is respected." Aarav stood slowly, his hand closed tightly around the pocket watch. His breath steadied, his heart grew stronger. For the first time, he felt something he had not felt in years: hope. He bowed his head toward the old master, gratitude filling his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. As Aarav stepped out of the workshop, the morning sun warmed his face. The world felt different, not because time had changed, but because he was beginning to do so. The valley of clocks stirred faintly in the unseen distance. Aarav was no longer drifting. He had taken the first step. Time had started listening.
The next morning arrived with a quiet stillness. The sun had not yet fully risen, and the sky carried that pale blue softness that only appears at the edge of dawn. Aarav walked through the village square, thinking about the lessons he had learned so far. discipline, presence, clarity. But something inside him still felt incomplete. He understood what time meant, yet he still didn't know why people wasted it so easily. As he walked, he noticed an old wooden sign hanging crookedly above a small shop. Mahir, the clockmaker. Aarav remembered hearing stories about this man, old, silent, mysterious. Some said he could repair any broken clock. Others whispered that he understood time better than anyone alive. Aarav stepped inside. The shop was dimly lit. Dozens of clocks lined the walls. Grandfather clocks, pocket watches, delicate hourglasses, and rusted wristwatches whose hands had long since stopped. They ticked at different tempos, creating a strange music, like the heartbeat of life itself. At the center of the room sat Mahir, an elderly man hunched over a desk, polishing a golden timepiece. His beard was long white, and his eyes were sharp, too sharp for someone his age. Without lifting his head, the old man said quietly, "Every clock in this room belongs to someone who lost time." A chill ran through Aarav. Finally, Mahir looked up. "Tell me, child, why have you come?" Aarav swallowed. "I want to understand time completely, not just how to use it, but why it slips away so easily." Mahir nodded slowly, as if he had been waiting for this question for decades. He reached for an ancient hourglass and set it on the table. Golden sand trickled down. "This," he whispered, "is your life." Aarav stared at it with curiosity. The clockmaker continued, "Every grain represents a moment, each one unique, each one irreplaceable. But humans believe they have an infinite amount of sand, and because of this illusion, they waste what they cannot recover." He pointed to the shelves of broken clocks. "These belong to men who delayed their dreams, women who ignored their purpose, students who thought they had plenty of time until it was gone." Aarav felt his heart tighten. Mahir leaned in. "Tell me, boy, what is the easiest way to waste a year?" Aarav shook his head. "I don't know." The old man smiled sadly. "Waste a day, because a year is only made of days." He continued, "And what is the easiest way to waste a day?" Aarav whispered, "By wasting an hour." Mahir nodded. "Time is never lost in chunks. It slips away, grain by grain, hour by hour, choice by choice. People wait for the right moment, not knowing that the right moment only appears when you take action." Aarav stood in silence, absorbing every word. The old clockmaker gently turned the hourglass upside down. The sand began falling, soft, relentless. He said, "Remember this, you cannot stop the sand, but you can choose what you build before the last grain falls." Aarav bowed deeply. For the first time in his life, he understood not just the value of time, but the fragility of it. And that understanding ignited something powerful inside him, a sense of urgency, a sense of purpose. He walked out of the clockmaker's shop a different person than the one who entered. The world suddenly felt louder, faster, more precious. Every second mattered, and Aarav was finally ready to live like it did.
Aarav walked back toward the mountain village with new fire in his heart. He replayed the clockmaker's words in his mind. "A year is wasted by wasting a day. Time slips grain by grain. You cannot stop the sand." He realized that he had spent so much of his life waiting for the perfect moment, when the moment he had was already perfect. As he climbed the steep path to the village, he noticed the master sitting under an ancient banyan tree, watching the sunset.
The sky glowed with gold and amber, casting long shadows across the earth. Aarav approached respectfully. "Master, I have learned something important today." The master smiled softly. "Then speak." Aarav told him everything, the room filled with forgotten clocks, the hourglass, the lesson of wasted days and wasted years. The master listened, nodding gently, as if he had already known exactly what Aarav would discover. When Aarav finished, the master closed his eyes for a moment and said, "Good, you have learned the truth of time, but now you must learn its danger." Aarav frowned. "Danger?" The master pointed toward the horizon where the sun was slowly sinking behind the mountains. Time doesn't only move forward, it also escapes. Aarav waited, unsure. The master continued, "Most people fear losing money, losing friends, losing opportunities. They do not realize that the greatest loss is the time they never used. And this loss cannot be repaired by any clockmaker." A gust of wind rustled the tree leaves. "Tell me, Aarav," the master asked, "what is the most common lie humans tell themselves?" Aarav thought for a moment. "That they don't have time?" The master shook his head. "No. The biggest lie is, 'I will start tomorrow.'" Aarav felt those words cut through him like a blade. The master stood and walked toward a nearby stream. He looked at this water, he said. "It flows in one direction. It never returns to where it started. Time is the same." He dipped his hand into the water. Droplets escaped between his fingers. No matter how tightly you hold it, you cannot keep it. Aarav kneeled beside him, watching the water shimmer in the fading sunlight. The master turned to him. "Now listen carefully, Aarav. You have been given a gift, the awareness of time. But awareness alone is not enough. Knowledge without action is the same as ignorance." He placed a hand on Aarav's shoulder. "You must now decide. Will you live with urgency, or will you wait until your last grains of sand fall?" The question struck Aarav like thunder. The master's face grew serious. "If you do not use your time with purpose, your future will not be stolen by others. It will be stolen by your own hesitation." Aarav felt the truth settle deep within him. The master continued, "Time gives you two gifts, clarity and responsibility. Clarity to see what matters, responsibility to act before it's too late." The world around them quieted. Only the sound of the flowing stream filled the silence. Finally, the master said, "Go now. Prepare yourself. What awaits you ahead will test whether you truly understand time or whether you still take it for granted." Aarav stood, his heart heavy but strong. He bowed deeply. Before he walked away, the master called out to him, "And remember, Aarav, the people who change their lives are not the ones who have more time. They are the ones who decide their time is worth protecting." Aarav nodded. He took a deep breath and stepped forward into the unfolding journey, more determined than ever before to prove that he valued every moment and that he was ready to rise above the person he used to be.
Aarav walked for hours through forests, valleys, and winding paths until the air grew strangely heavy. The trees here stood darker, their leaves dull and lifeless. The sky dimmed, even though the sun still shone somewhere above. Something in this place felt forgotten. He reached a stone archway with words carved into it. "The Village of Regret." A chill ran down his spine. As he stepped inside, he saw an unsettling sight. People wandering aimlessly, their shoulders slumped, their eyes hollow, as if they carried invisible weights.
They moved slowly, dragging their feet like prisoners of their own thoughts. A woman sat alone on a doorstep, staring at her hands as though they once held dreams she failed to protect. A man stood motionless near a dried-up well, whispering the same words over and over. "If only I had started sooner, if only." Everywhere Aarav turned, he saw people trapped, not by walls, but by memories of time they couldn't get back. A frail old man approached him. His face was lined with sorrow. "You're not from here," he said quietly. "No? What is this place? Why is everyone like this?" The old man sighed, looking toward the ground. "This is the place where people come when they realize they wasted their time. But by the time they understand, the doors to their dreams have already closed." Aarav felt his chest tighten. The old man continued, "Some here delayed their ambitions, waiting for the right moment. Others kept saying they would start tomorrow. Some feared judgment, and some simply believed they had more time than they really did. Now they walk in circles, haunted by the life they could have lived." Aarav looked around with disbelief. He asked, "Can they leave?" The old man shook his head slowly. "They can only leave if they change, but regret is a heavy chain, and most people carry it for life." A young boy suddenly ran past them, tears streaming down his face. "I wasted too much time! I wasted too much!" he cried. Aarav instinctively reached for him, but the child faded into smoke, a memory repeating itself. The old man whispered, "This village exists inside everyone. When we postpone our dreams, when we ignore our time, when we delay what matters, we take a step closer to this place." Aarav felt a sharp pain in his heart. He didn't want to become like these people, living shadows of their former selves. The old man placed a trembling hand on Aarav's shoulder. "You still have time," he said. "Value it before regret becomes your home." Aarav bowed respectfully and left the village with quickened steps. The images of those lost souls burned into his mind. He knew now that wasted time doesn't just disappear, it returns as regret. And regret, he realized, is far heavier than failure.
As Aarav continued his journey, the landscape began to change. The trees grew taller, the air fresher, and the sky brighter. Ahead of him rose a towering mountain, majestic, ancient, almost glowing in the sunlight. The locals called it the Whispering Mountain. It was said that the wind at its peak carried the voices of people's futures, the lives they could have lived if they used their time wisely. Aarav stood at the foot of the mountain, feeling its daunting presence. The path upward was steep, narrow, and scattered with loose stones. He took a deep breath. This was the next test. He began to climb. Step after step, the mountain challenged him. The air grew thin, the wind roared, loose rocks slid beneath his feet. His legs burned, his lungs ached, and his body trembled. But he refused to stop. Each time he felt weak, the faces from the village of regret surfaced in his mind. The hollow eyes, the whispered, "if only," the pain of wasted years. He climbed faster. Halfway up, the wind shifted. It became strangely gentle, almost melodic, carrying faint whispers. Aarav paused. At first he thought it was just the breeze, but then he heard it clearly. If you stay consistent, your future will be brighter than your past. He turned toward the sound, but no one was there. Another whisper followed. Every minute you invest becomes a part of the life you're building. Aarav's heart raced. These weren't random sounds. These were voices guiding him. The wind grew stronger, whispering multiple messages at once, some encouraging, some warning. Waste time, waste dreams. Protect your hours. The life you want is built in the time you respect. Act now or regret later. The voices surrounded him like echoes of destiny. A sudden gust of wind struck him hard, nearly pushing him off the path. He grabbed a rock, steadying himself. The wind hissed a final whisper. Your future is waiting, but it will not wait forever. Aarav closed his eyes and let those words sink deep into his soul. He continued climbing, higher, stronger, with purpose burning inside him. Finally, after hours of struggle, he reached the peak. The view was breathtaking. Endless valleys, rivers glistening, clouds floating beneath him. For a moment, the world was silent. Then the wind brushed past him gently, like a hand on his shoulder, and a soft, powerful whisper filled his ears. You are not here to find time. You are here to create it. Aarav exhaled sharply, realizing the truth. Time was not something he needed to search for. It was something he needed to shape, with discipline, intention, focus, and courage. He stood tall on the mountaintop, the sky opening before him like an unwritten destiny. He had learned the warnings, he had seen the consequences, he had heard the future calling him. And now he was ready. Ready to become the creator of his time, ready to shape his life, ready to move toward the final test that awaited him.
Aarav descended from the whispering mountain with a renewed spirit. The wind's words echoed through him. You are not here to find time. You are here to create it. Those words lit a fire inside him, unlike anything he had felt before. But as he reached the valley below, he found the master waiting for him, standing beneath a lone torch that flickered against the dusk sky. Aarav approached with reverence. Master, I have climbed the mountain. I have listened to the future. I am ready. The master's expression was calm, but his eyes held a gravity Aarav had never seen before. Aarav, he said softly, your journey is not complete. Your final test begins now. He handed Aarav a small, ancient hourglass, wooden frame, golden sand. This hourglass, the master said, contains 1 hour, no more, no less. Aarav held it carefully. The sand sparkled like crushed sunlight. The master continued, your final test is simple. Use your next hour wisely. Aarav frowned. How? What must I do? The master shook his head. That is for you alone to decide. Before Aarav could speak again, the master gently flipped the hourglass. The first grains of sand began to fall. Aarav felt a jolt of panic. 1 hour and no instructions? The master stepped back. You now understand what time means, what happens when it is wasted, and what awaits those who delay. Now you must understand this. Life gives you hours with no instructions too. You must choose the meaning yourself.
Aarav stood frozen as the sand fell, slow at first, then faster than he expected. He looked around. The valley was wide and empty. There were no tasks, no enemies, no obstacles. Just time, slipping. He felt a voice inside him whisper, "Do something, anything." But then another voice said, "Think, choose wisely." And another, "Don't waste it." His mind raced. 1 hour was nothing, and everything at the same time. His breathing quickened. He remembered the man in the village whispering, "If only, if only." He remembered the winds of the mountain urging him to act. He remembered the clockmaker telling him a year is wasted by wasting a day. With trembling hands, Aarav sat on the ground. He closed his eyes. And for the first time in his journey, he stopped trying to do something. He calmed his mind. He inhaled deeply. He listened. Slowly, clarity came to him. He realized something extraordinary. Time is not valuable because of what you do with it. It is valuable because it is limited. Your choices make it meaningful. A calmness washed over him. When he opened his eyes, he saw the world differently, brighter, sharper, more alive. And he stood. He walked with intention, each step deliberate. He climbed a nearby ridge to get a better view with the hourglass in his hand. He saw the beauty of life, the colors of the sky, the sound of the wind, the distant river reflecting the fading sunlight. Then he spoke aloud. "I understand now. Time is not a tool, it is a gift, and I choose to use it with purpose." He returned to the master, the hourglass nearly empty. The master asked quietly, "What did you learn?" Aarav held the hourglass close to his heart. He learned that the value of time is not found in rushing or forcing or fearing it. The value of time is found in awareness, in choosing wisely, in living fully, in being present. The final grain of sand fell. The hourglass emptied. The master smiled, proudly, deeply. "Aarav, you have passed." The valley lit up in golden light as though the world itself celebrated his awakening. And for the first time in his life, Aarav felt truly alive.
The story of Aarav is not just a tale, it is a mirror, a reflection meant for you, for me, for anyone who has ever said, "I'll start tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. I have plenty of time." We walk through life believing the hourglass will never empty. We delay our dreams, postpone our goals, ignore what matters, until regret catches us, until we see the sand running out. But today, this story reminds us of a truth we often forget. Time is the most precious thing you own. Not money, not opportunities, not possessions. Time is life. Every minute you waste is a piece of your future disappearing. Every hour you invest is a seed planted for the person you are becoming. Aarav learned that time does not wait for anyone, and neither will your dreams. So ask yourself, what will you do with the hourglass you've been given? Will you protect your time? Will you build something meaningful? Will you rise before regret becomes your companion?
Remember, the people who succeed are not the ones with more time. They are the ones who value what they have. Your life can change today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because time is not a guarantee. It is a gift. Use it wisely. Treasure it deeply. Live with purpose. Start now. And let the story of Aarav be the moment your life begins to change.